Hello.
Hello. Today we've got another exciting stream for you. As always, we're going to be going into the new UI, a whole ton of features. The biggest, most easy to see thing is obviously we've completely redone our UI, and we showed this off in the summer, and now it's actually done. And with the help of 20 really engaged testers, we've over the last month or so, we've been doing a whole bunch of beta testing. So it's as if you're getting kind of five updates in one big update. It's actually going to be going up tonight. And if you are a Quinly user already, this update is totally free. You can download it in the normal link for downloading our software on the resources page. Something we've been working pretty hard to do since the beginning is making it so that when you load Quinly and connect it to your printer, you have to do no configuration. So this is kind of a not immediately noticeable to anyone using Quinly, but you can switch between the supported printers and it will automatically reconfigure itself. So you're not spending, time finding the best settings or anything. You're not spending time like meticulously configuring Quinly to function with your machine. It'll just support it out of the box. So if you have an Ender 3, it'll detect that it's on an Ender 3 and it'll configure itself to work with an Ender 3, and you won't have to go through any complicated menus or anything. So
Yeah, like you don't really have to do anything in the command line. You don't need to know how to do coding. It's just you write an SD card, you plug it in, and it basically just
and
works.
plug it in. Yeah, yeah, plug it into the printer.
It's as pain-free as you can make a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, this has been a really big focus of ours because a lot of people who are using 3D printing for production don't want to frig around with the software. So we've been gathering feedback as much as we can to make it a very streamlined process. So it is really you just plug the Pi in and you can go. You don't have to change any settings, for example. So here's the main page. This is kind of your overview screen. Funnily enough, this is probably one of the pages you're going to be looking at the least, mainly because this is just like for when you want to get into the nitty gritty. There is a live feed, but it's more like if you want to manually send G code commands or do some settings or get more detail about what your printer is doing. It's kind of at a glance what's going on with this printer. Um, you'll see on the right you can queue up jobs, and it'll also show you what jobs were finished on that printer, and we'll talk through that as well. So this was a piece of feedback, but a lot of people were confused at the difference between suspend and abort. And the reason we introduced suspend, it's an kind of an automation only functionality. So a lot of people didn't understand what it was for.
I used Suspend today.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
But we added little tooltips, and we're going to be over time adding tooltips to as many places as we can where we see people getting confused or stuck. But suspend was like one of the most confusing features that was not immediately obvious, so we
hmm
added this.
So you'll see there's actually tons of like quality of life improvements
Yeah.
in this thing as well. So I think if you're first seeing the Quinly software, it's going to be a lot more intuitive to figure out some of this stuff.
But yeah, you can see now the printer is homing. It's a bit laggy probably because of our internet. But we've also actually spent time reducing the overhead on the whole system, and I'll talk a bit about why we did that later, but it also comes from a community request. So this is like cool, but my favorite page is actually the files page that we've introduced. So this page is a repository where you can keep, all of your production files and organize them. And I think it's very important that this system is actually, close to the production because, having an external system for storing files is actually really cumbersome. And none of those systems are really built for 3D printer file management. What we decided was to implement, a place we can store production ready G codes on the Quinly itself. Let's say I wanted to make one Ultimaker kit, right? I would select every single Ultimaker part here, and then hit add to queue. In 2 minutes, you can set up a whole week's worth of printing. And the cool thing is you don't have to do 10 of each one. You could do
Or just one of each.
different amounts. Maybe we want 2 of this one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send these off to the queue, get the big green check mark, and I'm going to view the queue. And so now this is just shows you what you've got scheduled. Again, you can multi-select, delete multiple, or you can just delete individual. It's basically just here to make your life easier. You can easily keep track of, what's coming up, when it was sent, how much of whatever is printing. So the reason I was saying this screen you're probably not going to spend too much time on is because the queue actually gives you a quick preview of your printer on the right. And so you can see exactly what your printer is doing here. Right now it's heating. There's a progress bar that'll start filling up once it starts printing. And it'll tell you what's printing, how many are left, and some other basic information. And then if you want more information, you can just go to the overview. Make sure to join the community Discord. Yeah, we can keep the conversation going in there, or we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.